Last week of August, a little after 6 in the morning, dew still sitting on the grass, and my neighbor's truck backs into his driveway with four things in the bed: a bag of grass seed, a bag of something with fall printed across it, a jug of weed killer, and a rented core aerator. Four products. One Saturday. $200. Here is what stops me. At least one of those four is probably unnecessary, and one may quietly cancel out another before Sunday evening. Meanwhile, there is a brown corner by his driveway that has been brown since July. If that corner is getting half the water the green part of his lawn gets, seed will not fix it. Fertilizer will not fix it. Neither will the aerator. And a test using empty cans from his kitchen would tell him which in 20 minutes. 7 things to check before you spend $1. 6 are free, and the 7th decides whether the first 6 hold. Let us start with the one almost nobody checks. Number 1. Which lawn do you actually own? Most fall advice talks about America like there is one lawn from Maine to Georgia. There are 2 families of turfgrass here, and they run on opposite schedules. Cool season grasses are tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, perennial ryegrass, and the fine fescues. Northern and Midwest lawns, and much of the upper South. For them, late summer into fall is the strongest growing window of the year. Warm season grasses are Bermuda grass, zoysia grass, centipede grass, and St. Augustine. Deep South, Gulf Coast, most of Texas and Florida. They peak in July, and as the season cools, they shift from growth toward dormancy preparation. So the same bag of nitrogen that helps one lawn recover can push the other into tender growth right when it should be winding down. Same product, same weekend, opposite results. 2 ways to tell which you have, both free. Look at how the grass travels. Bermuda and St. Augustine run across the surface, and you can slide a finger under a runner and lift it like a piece of string. Tall fescue does not run. It grows in bunches from a single crown. The second way is memory. Think back to February. If your whole lawn goes the color of wheat straw every winter and stays that way until spring, that is warm season. If it holds some dull green through the cold, that is cool season. Write down 3 things before you go further. Your grass, your region, roughly when your first frost arrives. Without those, you are reading somebody else's mail. Number 2. Do not repair brown grass until you know why it is brown. Here is the reflex. Brown means dead. Dead means bare dirt. Bare dirt means seed. So you buy seed. But Iowa State University Extension makes a point that changes the picture. When a cool season lawn goes brown in a dry summer, the leaves die. The crowns and roots underneath stay alive. Most healthy lawns hold that way for 4 to 6 weeks, with no water and green right back up. The lawn is not dead. The pilot light is still on. Now the honest half. David Minner, a turfgrass specialist at Iowa State, put it plainly. Summer dormancy helps Kentucky bluegrass survive, but under long stretches of severe drought, even Kentucky bluegrass can die. Past 4 to 6 weeks brown, you are not in dormancy anymore. You are in decline. So before you buy anything, 4 checks. 10 minutes total. Push a long screwdriver into the soil, first in a green area, then in the brown one. Several easy inches means moisture and structure are fine. If it stops dead at an inch and you have to lean on it, that soil is packed or bone dry, and either one is an answer. Part the grass to the soil line and look at the crown, that thickened knuckle where the blades emerge. Green or pale ivory and firm means the plant is alive. Gray and crumbling means that patch is gone. Then stand up and stop looking at the color. Look at the shape. A lawn problem draws a picture of itself. A strip along the driveway is reflected heat. A ring of brown around a healthy center means a sprinkler is watering a donut. A worn path from the gate is traffic, not disease. Brown under a maple is root competition. A south-facing slope is sun plus runoff. Color tells you something is wrong. Shape tells you what. And last, tug a handful of the brown grass. Dormant turf resists. If it lifts like loose carpet with no roots holding it, something has been feeding underneath, and that is a sample for your extension office, not a bag of seed. Still do not seed. because there is one more question, and it explains more brown patches than everything else on this list. Number 3. Find out where your water is actually landing. Colorado State University Extension has a tutorial on this, and the line that stopped me cold is that brown spots have many causes, but the most common one is uneven irrigation coverage. When a system is running, it always looks like water is going down evenly. It rarely is. Here is the test, and it may be the best free thing I ever learned about a lawn. Go to the kitchen. Get 5 to 10 identical containers. Tuna cans are perfect. Small straight-sided cups work. They have to match, and the sides cannot taper, because a tapered container will lie to you. Set them out across one zone, level, a few feet from the heads. Some in the green grass, some in the middle of the brown patch. Run that zone the way you always run it, 15 or 20 minutes. And while it runs, walk it. Watch for a head sitting too low, or leaning crooked, or turning halfway and stopping, or spraying into a shrub that has grown 3 feet since you planted it. Then measure the water in each can with a ruler. Colorado State gives this example. A green area catching 0.2 of an inch. A brown area catching 1/10. Numbers so small they look like nothing in the bottom of a can. That brown patch was not getting a little less water. It was getting half. Half. Every cycle. All summer. You stood at the window believing you gave that corner the same 30 minutes as everything else. And you did. It only ever received half of it. Which means running the sprinkler longer would not fix it either. You would just overwater the 90% of the lawn that was already fine. And the repairs cost almost nothing. Straighten ahead the mower knocked crooked. Cut back the grass that has grown up and swallowed a low head. Clear grit out of a plugged nozzle. Prune the shrub sitting in the spray path. And if water runs off a slope before it soaks in, split one 20-minute run into 2 10-minute runs an hour apart, so the first softens the ground for the second. That is not a product. That is an afternoon with a screwdriver, and it can save you an entire bag of seed. Number 4. Aerate only if the lawn earned it. Let me give you 30 seconds of history first. In 1842, Charles Darwin had broken chalk spread over an old pasture beside his house, simply to see how deep it would end up buried. 29 years later, he had a trench dug across that field. The chalk was 7 inches down. Worms had been turning that ground over, quietly, the entire time. His last book, published in 1881, was about earthworms. Healthy soil is alive, and living soil opens its own pores. But people take that too far. Worm channels are genuinely good. They do not mean a compacted area never needs help. A lawn where cars park, or where the kids have played in the same spot for 6 years, is not going to earthworm its way out of that. So the question is not, is it fall? The question is your soil actually compacted? You already tested for that with the screwdriver. Heavy traffic, dense clay that puddles instead of taking water in, a genuinely thick thatch layer. Those are the conditions that justify the machine. If none of them are present, renting an aerator is money and turf stress spent on a problem you do not have. And know which machine you are renting. A core aerator uses hollow tines to lift plugs of soil out. A spike aerator drives solid tines in and pushes soil aside. When the goal is relieving meaningful compaction, core aeration is the one to reach for, because it physically removes soil rather than displacing it. Spike tools have their place on light, loose ground. They are just not the tool for a hard clay problem. And leave the plugs where they fall. Penn State Extension notes that as that soil works back into the thatch, it feeds the microbes that break thatch down. 2 weeks of rain and mowing, and they are gone. And measure your thatch before you touch it. Cut a slice of turf with a spade and look at the edge. Between the green blades and the soil sits a spongy brown layer. Hold a ruler to it. Penn State suggests removal when that layer reaches about an inch, and only in cool weather with adequate moisture. Never in high heat. Never in drought. Tearing up a stressed August lawn is one of the fastest ways to turn a tired lawn into a dead one. Number 5. Seed the cause, not the bare dirt. For cool season lawns, late summer really is the best planting season of the year. Iowa State names mid-August through mid-September as the prime window in Iowa. warm soil for fast germination, cooling air, and almost no weed competition because the summer annuals are finishing their year, not starting it. Your window will differ. Minnesota Extension runs seeding from early August into late September. NC State pushes tall fescue toward September, wanting soil above 60 degrees. Same principle, different weeks. But first, fix the reason. If that corner went bare because it gets half the water, seeding it now just plants a new set of victims. If the soil is packed so hard a screwdriver stops, the roots will run straight into a wall. If a maple has grown over it and it now gets 2 hours of light, no seed on earth solves that. Seed does not repair causes. It only fills space a cause has already emptied. Once the cause is handled, the whole job is seed-to-soil contact. Seed sitting on top of thatch is sitting on a mattress. It sprouts on the first heavy dew and dies on the first hot afternoon because the root never reached anything that holds water. You do not need a machine. Scratch the surface until the top quarter-inch is loose, scatter your seed, then press it in with the back of a rake or a board you step on. Core aeration helps here too, opening the surface and improving contact. But do not assume the holes do the work for you. What matters is good contact across the whole area you are fixing. Now here is the one that costs people the most for the least return. More seed is not better. Picture two neighbors. The first doubles the bag because thin lawn, more seed seems obvious. 3 weeks later, he has a thick green carpet and feels like a genius. The second uses the rate printed on the bag. NC State Extension's Carolina Lawns Guide puts tall fescue at about 5 to 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet and says directly, do not assume more is better because higher rates can produce weak, thin stands more susceptible to disease and heat stress. His lawn comes in slower. It looks ordinary next to the first. October is a liar. Both lawns look fine in October. July is the one that tells the truth. Crowded seedlings spent their first weeks competing with each other for the same water, the same light, the same pocket of soil, instead of putting roots down. You are not trying to win September, my friends. You are trying to build grass that survives next July. Then keep the top inch moist through germination, which is where most people go wrong in the other direction. Iowa State is specific, light and frequent, not the deep soaking you give established grass. A seed has no roots. If that top inch dries out at 2 in the afternoon, yesterday's seedling is gone. Then, as the blades stand up on their own, stretch it out. Less often, deeper each time. You make the roots reach. And if you are standing in the yard trying to remember which test comes first, I made the late summer lawn rescue map for exactly that. Grass types, regional timing, the water test worksheet, and the treatment calendar, all on one printable guide in large print. Scan the code on screen or grab it below the video. Number 6. Stop letting the front of the bag make the decision. Every year the shelves fill with bags that say fall. And winterizer. Clemson Extension points out that most winterizer products do not distinguish between cool season and warm season grass at all. The bag does not know where you live, and it cannot know what your soil already has plenty of. Two neighbors again. The first has tall fescue in Ohio, coming into his strongest season. Late summer nitrogen helps him recover and build reserves for spring. Reasonable. The second has Bermuda grass in North Georgia. UGA extension guidance there is to stop nitrogen as active growth ends in late summer, because feeding into September can delay dormancy, expose the lawn to frost injury, and set it up for spring dead spot the following April. But notice I said North Georgia, not the South. Coastal Carolina differs from the Georgia Piedmont. North Florida differs from South Florida, where lawns often stay green all winter. Clemson frames it by frost rather than by date, suggesting any late nitrogen go down at least 2 months before the average first frost. Your cutoff is a local question with a local answer. The word winterizer is marketing. Your grass species and your soil are biology. So 4 questions before you buy fertilizer. What grass do I have? Is it actively growing right now or preparing for dormancy? What does a soil test say about phosphorus and potassium? What does my local extension recommend for nitrogen timing? If you cannot answer 2 or 3 of those, do not let a photograph on a bag decide for you. And on potassium, be careful, because this is where confident advice runs ahead of the evidence. Potassium does play a real role in cold tolerance. But Clemson also notes that fertilizing properly during the growing season usually keeps potassium sufficient already, so buying a high potassium bag every autumn without ever testing may be solving a problem your soil does not have. Penn State's guidance is the one I follow. Phosphorus and potassium from a soil test, nitrogen timing from your grass. Most extension soil tests cost a fraction of one unnecessary bag, and the report tells you what you can stop buying. Number 7. Build a calendar that does not fight itself. This is the one that saves the other 6. You can do several good lawn jobs and still get a bad result, if those jobs are chemically or biologically incompatible. Here is the clearest example. Seed asks the ground, please germinate. A conventional pre-emergent strategy is designed to tell germinating plants, do not establish. Those two instructions cannot sit on the same patch of ground in the same month. And this is not hypothetical. UGA's Bulletin on Weed Control in Home Lawns says pre-emergence herbicides are recommended only for turf established at least a year, and that severe injury can result if applied after seeding. Their fall pre-emergent window for North Georgia runs roughly mid-August to mid-September, very nearly the same weeks as cool season seeding. Same weeks, opposite jobs. So pick a lane for this autumn. Lane A is establishment. Seed, moisture, careful early mowing, and no herbicide on those areas until the new grass has grown in. NC State puts it in terms you can see. Wait until the young grass is extensively tillered, meaning each plant has stopped being one blade and started throwing side shoots. Penn State notes many broadleaf products wait 4 to 6 weeks after establishment, and its renovation guidance cites about 4 weeks after a common 3-way mix before seed goes down. I am not going to give you a universal number of days because there is not one. Active ingredients differ, and so do intervals. The label on the jug in your garage is the actual answer, and it carries legal force. Lane B is weed control. You are not seeding this fall, so the whole season opens up. Perennial broadleaf weeds are hauling resources into their roots right now, which makes early fall a good time to reach them. And for warm season lawns, this is your winter pre-emergent window, on your local schedule. One exception worth naming: some warm season homeowners overseed on purpose with ryegrass for winter color. UF and IFAS note North and Central Florida lawns are candidates for that, while South Florida generally does not need it. If you are winter overseeding, you are in lane A, and the pre-emergent waits, same as anybody else. What you cannot do is stand in both lanes and hope. Which means the smartest thing you may do this weekend is walk right past 3 of the 4 products you were going to buy. So here is your weekend. Friday evening, walk the yard with empty hands and name the cause of every brown area out loud. Saturday morning, run the water test on one zone, take the screwdriver around 5 or 6 spots, measure your thatch, and pull soil samples while the trowel is already in your hand. Saturday afternoon, fix the water first, then core aerate only if the screwdriver said you earned it, then scratch up the bare areas. Sunday, if you are a cool season lawn inside your local window, seed at the labeled rate and water light and frequent. Then write your treatment calendar on paper, because in 6 weeks you will not remember what you sprayed, and the label will still be true whether you remember it or not. And if you have an established warm season lawn, late August is probably not your establishment window. Your work now is helping the lawn enter dormancy in good condition on your region's schedule. Here is what I actually believe, underneath all 7 of these. Next spring's lawn is partly a letter you write in late August. And the most valuable thing you do this weekend probably costs nothing at all. It may just be discovering that your brown corner has been getting half the water for 11 years, or that your soil was never compacted and you were about to rent a machine you did not need. Before you buy something, prove what the lawn actually needs. So go out there and then come back and tell me, what did you discover first? A water problem, compaction, or a treatment you realized you did not need? The free guide is in the description. Take it out to the yard and get grass stains on it. Do the few right things and trust the season. I will see you in the next one.